Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. I appreciate you all so very much. Today is the next installment in my palette roulette series, in which I let an app choose a palette for me. I use it throughout the week, and then I come back to you, discuss the palette with you, and show you some pictures, swatches, etc. And then we pull another palette. Today we are going over the Bh Cosmetics Zodiac palette. And if you guys tuned in last week, I did pull this one as well as the Winky Lux Kitten palette. I did opt to put the Winky Lux Kitten palette back into rotation and back into the palette roulette picker, the decision wheel, because this palette had so much variety in it that there really wasn't a way for me to incorporate the Winky Lux Kitten palette as well. So I just did this palette and we had a good time. I'm just saying. So this palette was a limited edition palette that came out in November of 2017 by Bh Cosmetics. This was their Rockstar palette for the longest time, and they rode the coattails of this palette for a very long time. They're still kind of riding the coattails of this palette, but this was sold out and then restocked and then sold out and then restocked. It does carry a 4.9 star rating on Bh Cosmetics, and that has 1,444 reviews on it, and that encompasses that 4.9 star rating. So you know that it's a pretty decent palette when it has that many reviews and a 4.9 star rating. Again, that is on the Bh Cosmetics website. I know that when you Google the palette, the Google system will give you a star rating based on all the reviews that they have on the Google sphere, and that rating is 4.8, and it has so many reviews. So it's a decent palette, right? It does have a sleeve on it. So this is the exterior of the sleeve, and the sleeve just gives you an inside look as to what the palette looks like. And I know this sleeve is different than the sleeve that was originally on this palette. It does say that it's a 25 color eyeshadow and highlight palette. It does tell you that it has 1.06 ounces or 30 grams of product in it. And then on the back, it does give you a look into the ingredients of each of the shadows here, and just like a rundown of the palette. It does have the little pita buddy here that tells you that it's cruelty free, and it does say it has a 24-month shelf life on it. So my sleeve is on there pretty tight, so we're gonna try and get it off of here. So this is the sleeve again. This is what the front of the palette looks like. The old sleeve, when this palette first came out, did look exactly like the front of the palette. I'm going to keep that sleeve because it does protect the palette. Keeps it all nice and snug and tight and travel friendly if you want to travel with it. It doesn't have like much for a magnetic clasp, honestly. But this is what the front of the palette looks like. The back is very similar to that is on the sleeve. And then you open it up. It does have a mirror on it. You can... it is a tight back, but you can, fold it. You can get it all the way back if you are willing to kind of break the spine just a little bit. And this is what the palette looks like. This center one here is the highlight in the palette, and the rest of them are eye shades. The rectangle pans in the middle are the matte shades, and the circle pans on the exterior are the shimmer shades, and they're a baked shimmer. There are 25 different pans in here, 12 baked shimmers, 12 mattes, and the one highlight, which is also a baked highlight. Like I said, Bh kind of rode the coattails of this palette for so long. This was a palette that did sell out and then restocked and sold out again and again and again over time. So they thought, oh, this is a crazy awesome thing that we're doing right now. Let's continue this fashion. They do have Zodiac Love Signs palette. They also just came out with the Zodiac Crystal palette that has the baked pans are marbled They also last year did a zodiac sign for every or a zodiac palette for every single sign as the months went by of the year, and those were not as popular as this. And while I typically don't love a palette that has a whole lot of wasted space, I do love this palette. I think that this palette is amazing. When I was looking online at some of the reviews of this palette, one of the things that really stood out to me that was kind of a crazy complaint is that these zodiac colors didn't really match the actual signs that they have on here. For instance, let's just go with Aries. Aries is this section here with the black, which is a phenomenal black, and this blue here, which is also a phenomenal blue. But Aries, the sign, is typically looked at as more of those fiery signs, right? Or those fiery colors, so deep reds, oranges, mustards, those kind of things. Virgo, right here, is really pretty on par with what Virgo looks like. Virgo typically is categorized as a pastel color scheme. But then you get to Libra, which is right here, and it's purple and kind of like this gray tone, which I didn't use, but I did use this, and that is beautiful. This sign is typically categorized with blues, and those are definitely not blues. As a matter of fact, there's only one blue in this palette, and I think that we could probably get rid of some of these browns and put in a blue, or get rid of some of these purples and put in a blue. I really do like that they set it up in a way that each matte and shimmer actually are a pretty fantastic color combination. As a matter of fact, these two colors here I am wearing on my eyes today, amongst other colors. I do have this look that will be coming to you later on this week. I did record it for those of you out there that would like me to do more makeup application videos or get readies with me. I did record this look today, so you'll get to see that video. But I do like how they have it set up so that you have a matte and a shimmer that make a great combination of colors. So if you just wanted to play it really simple, you definitely could. But I would say also, don't be afraid to skirt outside the lines, because I have done many a look with colors across this wheel and they're still beautiful together. This highlighter, not my favorite highlighter in the world. I don't even like it on my eyes, if I have to be honest with you. It's pretty chalky and really chunky on your face or your eye. If I do apply it, I like it applied better with my fingers. Then I go over it with like a wet blender sponge so that it kind of melts it into my skin, because it won't do it itself. It's not appropriate for a highlighter, in my opinion. It is going to show every single amount of texture on your face or your eyes, depending on where you put it. The mattes and the shimmers in this palette alike are super, super soft. I really just can't say enough about the palette. My friend Lisa actually talks about this palette all of the time, and she was the catalyst for me going after this palette and really digging down into my decisions on whether I was going to purchase it or not. Was never a palette that was really on my radar, honestly. I do love Zodiac type things, but it just wasn't. Bh Cosmetics for a long time was not a cosmetic brand that I really bought into. Maybe because I'm bougie and I like that prestige and luxury type makeup. I don't own a whole lot of like drugstore price points, but man, you can't beat the price point on this guy. This is $27 full price, and it's always on sale. Right now, currently, as we speak, it is on sale on the BH website for, I think, $19, $18.75 or something like that. I know that when it first came out, it was $17, but regular price $21.99. So the price point has raised quite a bit, but still, $27 for 25 shades, you really can't beat that. That's just over $1 for each of these shades, and they really are great shades. Super pigmented. Well, I do believe that some of them are a little bit patchy. This army green here, I think, is super patchy, and this darker purple right here I also think is super patchy, and that is the Taurus matte shade and the Capricorn matte shade. The lighter shades aren't necessarily as patchy. This black is a fantastic black. It is such a pigmented black. But while they are pigmented, they are also so powdery. Every single one of these shades in here is a powdery shade, and I know that you guys can't see it on my palette, but there is little particles of the shimmer pieces everywhere. There's particles of the matte pieces everywhere. Like, it's a messy palette. There is a lot of fallout with this palette. And the darker the color, the worse it is. Of course, that's typically the way it goes. I'm going to put this palette down. It is kind of heavy. You know, you can escape a lot of that by tapping out your brush, but because it's powdery, I noticed that if you tap out your brush, like I normally might tap out my brush, a lot of the color falls off, depending on the kind of brush that you have. I do like using kind of a stiffer brush with those baked highlighters. I feel like it just goes on better. Unless you want it like splayed out all over your face, go in with a much denser brush, maybe even like a flat packer brush. That would be the best way to do it. Or your finger. I did find that they did amazing with my fingers. It kind of, the layout of it kind of reminds me of the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette. And I think it came out the year after the Mi Vida Loca palette, or maybe, I think that it did. I think it came out the year after the Mi Vida Loca palette, maybe 2 years after. So I don't necessarily think that it was supposed to be like a dupe of that by any means. It came out at the same time as Saint and Sinner, and I personally had to have the Saint and Sinner palette, and I think that's why this one just kind of fell off my radar. This is a really good palette. It's colorful, but I think it's pretty beginner friendly because the shades aren't so pigmented that if you dip in and you tap off that you're gonna go in super heavy handed at first. And you guys will see in the video of this makeup look that I actually went in several times and blended out several times just because I had to, because was trying to build up the color to an extent that it really did show the transitions of color on my eye. And I think that that is good on this palette because it becomes beginner friendly then. And they don't have to be, you know, you're beginner and you're kind of sitting in this place where you're kind of afraid of color. I don't think that you have to be afraid of color with this palette, because while it is pigmented, as I said, if you tap off the brush, it's not as pigmented as it is if you just go straight into the color and then straight onto your eye. With that being said, beginners tend to get a little more frustrated with all the fallout, and it does have an awful lot of fallout. So the standouts in this palette I truly feel are the shimmer shades. They look amazing wet or dry. I do typically wet all my shimmer shades, but I don't feel like you have to with these shimmers. And I think a lot of that comes from their essence. They are baked, they are like super soft and just beautiful. But with that being said, you have to be really careful when you go into them because they are so soft. You can definitely dig in a little bit harder than you wanted to. The highlight, while it's not my favorite highlight, it is a really pretty white, and it does have a really nice like gold shift to it. It can be really, really pretty, but I wish it was just a little bit better quality, because I feel like that highlight would be an amazing highlight on your face if it just didn't show texture the way it does. I don't know if you guys can see that shift, but it's white and then it kind of has like this gold shift to it. It's really very pretty, but I just don't think that it's a proper highlight, and I do think that it needs to go on wet if you're going to put it on your face at all, or put it on and then bounce a wet beauty blender over the top of it so that it does kind of melt in. I found these to work better with a primer. I found them to work better with even going the next step, a tackier primer. I also found them to work better with a white primer. So white tacky primer is what you're looking for. With the matte shades, you will want to set that primer, but with the shimmer shades, I really feel like they work best with a tacky primer. They cling a little bit better, and they shine a little bit better. Longevity wise, this isn't amazing. I got ready the other day for a doctor's appointment. I got ready for the doctor's appointment. I put on the makeup at like 6:30 in the morning. I got back from my doctor's appointment about 9:30, and I looked in the mirror and had plans on filming later in the day, so I just wanted to make sure that my makeup still looked appropriate. And at 9:30, 3 hours after I had it on, like the matte shade that I had in the outer V of my eye, as well as the shimmer shade that I had on the rest of my eye, were separating, transferring, and I mean, just creasing really bad. And the matte shade on the outer V was nearly gone. So that is the day that I didn't wear any primer. So I would say a good 3 to 6 hours without primer is what you're going to get out of this palette. The shimmers do last longer, but not much longer, and they do transfer a lot if you're not using some kind of base. If you are using a base, I wore the eye look that I did yesterday on film that I didn't press record on my camera, but I did have that eye look on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 10 it still looked really good, and I had a really good tacky primer underneath a white base primer so that it kind of held on a lot longer. So I got 6 hours of wear out of that. Actually, I think I took my makeup off around midnight, so I got a good 8 hours of wear out of that, and it looked decent. At the time that I took off my makeup, it looked decent. Like, it didn't look like I had just applied it, but it also wasn't coming off my eyes. It wasn't fading. It wasn't moving. So definitely a tacky primer with this, definitely even a white base tacky primer. You're going to see a lot more of the pigmentation with a white base. I am wearing a white base under this today, and I feel like it blends really well, and it's just, these shimmers are beautiful shimmers. So it does have a lot of pros and just a smidge of cons. And for the price point, like, I have to give them kudos. Like, I have seen shimmers in higher price point palettes that aren't nearly this great. What I would say is I'm not 100% thinking that I need to swatch this, but I am going to swatch the shimmers for you because I just think that they are so amazing. Okay, so this is the Capricorn shimmer. And you guys, this is one swipe. That is Sagittarius. Look at that green. That is in my eye look today. This is for Scorpio, also in my eye look today. This one is for Libra. Oh my gosh. Those are so pretty, you guys. These shimmers just, man. And then we have Virgo, who's just so pretty, such a light pink. Then we have Leo, which is kind of a little bit pinker. One's a little bit peachier than the other. Then we have Cancer. I wore this. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Then we have Gemini, really beautiful silver. And then this shade is Taurus. There along the top, kind of a beigey. I mean, look at those shimmers. Like, I just don't know how they did that. They're just so pretty. And the thing about it is, too, is they're not chunky. Like, I'm not even sure that they really have glitter in them. I did go to Lauren May Beauty's video on glitter, as well as Faces by Gina. She did a glitter video as well. I can link them down in my description box, which I've been horrible about, but I will try to remember, I promise. And the ingredient that you're looking for when you're looking for glitters is polyethylene terephthalate. And I don't see that in the ingredient list, but there are polymers in the ingredient list, so I don't know if that matters. They're smooth and so shiny without being chunky, which is amazing. This is Aries. What? That is so, so pretty. This one is Pisces, kind of an orange shadow. This one is probably my favorite in the palette, and it is Aquarius. And it is this like yellow orange shifty duochrominess to it. It is so pretty. And this one is Capricorn. So that's all 12 of the shimmers. And then of course I already showed you the highlight. So that is the last of the shimmers. I'm not gonna swatch all of the mattes for you guys, but I will swatch a couple because I just think it's super important to see the pigmentation of these mattes. So first we're gonna do this black because what, you guys, that black is insane. So that's the black. Holy moly. And that's just one swipe. That's not even having to go over it several times. This one was one of my favorite colors. It's the purple matte for Taurus, but it's also one of the grippier in the pans. And it also, I don't feel like goes on super well. This is one that I wore in my crease a lot because it didn't like to blend out very well. It kind of got a little bit patchy. The Capricorn green matte is the same way. It did also get kind of a little bit patchy when you blended it out. So it was perfect for packing, but not perfect for blending. It also feels a little bit more grippy in the pan. This is another one of the purples that I loved. And this one I used often for blending out. It kind of sways a little bit on the pink side. So that's just some of the mattes there. And I just feel like that pigmentation on that black is insane. I really did have a really good time with it, and I think my friend Lisa would enjoy hearing that I really kind of feel like I slept on this. I really kind of feel like I lived under a rock, that I wish I would have brought this into my collection a lot sooner, but I am super thankful of her for always talking about it, because I probably wouldn't have brought it into my collection if I hadn't heard her talking about it so much. Also, she ranked all of her palettes in one of her recent videos. I can link that down in the description box as well. And this palette was her #1 palette. So, and I can't imagine why. It is just a really good palette. And for the price point, like, man, you're getting such amazing shades for this price point. So I hope that you guys aren't disappointed that I didn't really dig into the Winky Luxe palette this week. I did, like I said, put it back into my wheel, so it will come up again. I had so much with this, and I'm sure that you guys saw, I think I have like 7 looks that I did with this palette this week. So I did get a really good feel of this palette, and it didn't piss me off at all, which is nice. Some of the shades kind of blended a little more patchily, but overall, like, I had a really good time with this palette. It will stay in my collection. One of the things that I really like about it too is that I feel like it's all encompassing. Like, you can get some really stellar day looks out of this if you're like a day look versus night look, or work look versus play look kind of person. For me, I wear whatever I want any day of the week. But if you are a day versus night look, or a presentable versus not presentable, or work look versus party look kind of person, like, you can get all that out of this palette. It has a good share of mattes. Obviously, it has just as many mattes in it as it does shimmers, so you can get an all matte look if you wanted to, or an all shimmer look if you wanted to. But it also has a good display of neutrals versus color as well, so you can definitely get that work appropriate look if you wanted to, as well as, you know, glamming it up and getting that nighttime look as well. We are now going to pull for our new palette. And for those of you who do not know, I do have a Samsung Note 9, so I picked up an app out of our Play Store, and it is called the Decide Now app. It looks like a Wheel of Fortune app, and I just put all my palettes into it, And as we use them through this palette roulette, I do take them out. As we get new palettes in, I do put them in. We'll just continue to do this as long as I have a palette to do it with. And to spin for a new one, we just hit that button right there. I got the Melt Muerte palette. This is new. I think I picked it up a couple months ago, but I haven't used this palette yet. I haven't used Bh Cosmetics yet, so I'm super excited about this palette. Let me go get it. I will be right back. This is the Melt Muerte palette. Muerte? Am I saying that right? For my friends down there who know, please tell me. So for those of you who have been on my channel for a while, you know I was obsessed with this set of palettes, and I did end up getting both. My friend Grace went to a place where they were selling them for like 40% off her cost, so she did pick them up for me. I got them, I paid for them. She did pick them up for me. This is the first time I've opened it and used it. I kind of am in this place where I'm like, do I want to use it? It's like, I wanted that palette so bad. So this is the box. This is the palette, which looks just like the box, only it's very like tactile. All these shiny parts here are actually raised. It's just such a beautiful palette. I'm so excited to use this palette. What do you guys think about me pulling the other one that goes with it, the Vita palette, in with it? I think that they are like a combination deal, honestly. I think that they were made to go together, so I might pull the other one in too. Let me go grab that. They were made to go together, and I just think that it makes the most sense to pull this one in too. Also because I just really want to use them. So this is the Vita one, and this looks just like the box that it came in. So we have them both together. Look, they magnetize together, you guys. And I don't really know that I knew that before because they've just remained in their boxes. But this is the exterior of that one. Again, tactile. It does have the raised parts to it. All the shiny parts are raised. And then this is that palette. So I just think that they were born to be used together. That they were born to be used together. So I might pull both of them in this week. What do you guys think? I think I'm gonna pull both of them in this week. So we have two palettes that we'll go over next week. I love I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the next week. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you saw everything that you needed to see about the Bh Cosmetics Zodiac palette. It really is a fantastic palette, and like I said, it is on sale currently at the Bh Cosmetics website for like $19. It is a palette that I would 100% stand behind on recommendation. Say if you're looking for, you know, a super affordable palette with crazy awesome pigmentation and beautiful shimmers, this is the palette that you want. I think that it is an amazing palette. I really enjoyed it. It will stay in my collection. I hope that you guys liked it enough. You're considering giving me a big thumbs up. It really would help my channel. I would appreciate it so much. But also, I hope that you liked it, or me, enough that you're considering subscribing. Again, it would really help me out. It's free to you, and I would love to have you guys as part of my crazy YouTube life here, crazy YouTube family, and see you guys down in the comment section. Please, no matter what, if you're subscribed or not, please leave a comment down in the comment section. I really do enjoy having that feedback coming from you and getting to have those conversations down in the comment section. Please go check out my friends that I'm linking down in my description box, because I would love for you guys to get more information on glitter if you want it from Lauren and Faces by Gina. Both videos are super informative, and I don't think that the Bh Cosmetics palette is glitter, but then I don't know enough about it. So if you're a person that's trying to avoid glitter, go see their videos so that you know full well whether it is glitter or not. Also, go see my friend Lisa, who just got done ranking her palettes. I couldn't even think about ranking my palettes. I have way too many to put into a ranking. We were talking about how that would have to be like a 2 or 3 part video for me, and I wouldn't even know where to start, honestly. But Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I hope that if you did, you give it a big thumbs up. I also hope that you would subscribe to my channel before you go. If you do subscribe, please hit the notification bell. I do upload content 3 to 4 times a week, depending on the week, and I wouldn't want you to miss anything. And that notification bell is going to make sure that you don't. Please be safe. Please love each other from afar. And until next time, guys, bye.